it's Kira and welcome to Vlogmas number 4. Today is Monday the 6th of December, so I'm just about to start a new week of work, but before we dive into the rest of this video, I wanted to let you know that today's vlog has been very kindly sponsored by Book of the Month, which I am so excited about. For anyone that doesn't know, Book of the Month is an online subscription service for book lovers, and their aim is essentially to connect readers with books that they know they're going to love and also to promote new and emerging authors. Now that bit is the part of Book of the Month that I personally love the most because I am 100% someone who could be labelled as an indecisive reader. When I go to a physical bookshop, I don't know what to do with myself when it comes to finding new things or like how to break down all of the different shelves and areas of the bookshop to find new books that I'm actually going to enjoy. So with that in mind, I end up just going back to the same authors over and over again, the same genres and the same little nooks and crannies of the bookshop where I know I found books I've liked before. And of course that can be nice and it is lovely to be able to return to familiar authors over and over again, but that does mean as a reader I find it a little bit harder to expand my reading horizons, which I would love to do more and more. And so Book of the Month make it so much easier for indecisive readers like me, and I know there are more of you out there, it certainly can't just be me, to find new authors that we're going to love, to find new genres and to be exposed to new titles that we might not have otherwise found when it comes to physically book shopping. So the way that that works is each and every month the Book of the Month team trawl through hundreds and hundreds of new release titles and come up with a curated selection of the best picks for their readers. Then as one of their readers you get sent that selection and you can pick whichever book suits you best that month. So it's a really great way to narrow down that search and take out the stress of trying to find new authors and expose yourself to new books, which for me just makes this service such a winner because it really does give you the choice. You still have the option to choose whichever book suits you best, but you also know that they have kind of been like vetted by other book lovers and you know that you're getting a selection of books that are going to be really, really great, so you can sort of settle down, enjoy whichever book suits you best and know that you haven't had the stress of trying to find one yourself, which I just think is an unbeatable feeling. So you can select whichever book you want, it gets sent to you, you can enjoy it, and you've got a brand new release without having any of that stress of trying to find a new book. So absolutely wonderful. However, it is also worth mentioning that Book of the Month is completely risk-free, by which I mean you can skip any month where there's not a book that takes your fancy. So if you get that curated selection and there's not one jumping out at you, or you just simply don't think you've got time to read a book that month, then you can skip that month completely free of charge. You won't be charged for that month's subscription, and then you can just pick it up the following month with a new book and enjoy another Book of the Month selection. So every book that you get sent from Book of the Month is either a brand new release or even an early release, and they are all hardbacks. Book of the Month also have the best price for new release hardbacks out there, and this month as a holiday special, if you use the code JOLLY and click the link in my description box, you can get your first ever Book of the Month pick for only $5, which I think is absolutely incredible. I mean, a $5 brand new hardback is absolutely unheard of. I feel like the only difficult bit about Book of the Month is actually choosing which book to select because all of the picks are incredible. So I wanted to show you some of the books from December's selection because they all sound amazing. There are a few that stand out to me, and the first one is this incredible sounding thriller, which is called A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. Absolutely looks amazing, like the front cover looks so spooky, and I definitely can't wait to dive into this one. So I'm going to read you the blurb because I just think it sounds so intriguing. When Chloe Davis was 12, 6 teenage girls went missing in her small Louisiana town. By the end of summer, her own father had confessed to the crimes and was put away for life, leaving Chloe and the rest of her family to grapple with the truth and try to move forward while dealing with the aftermath. Now, 20 years later, Chloe is a psychologist in Baton Rouge and getting ready for her wedding. While she finally has a fragile grasp on the happiness she's worked so hard to achieve, she sometimes feels out of control of her own life as the troubled teens who are her patients. So when a local teenage girl goes missing, and then another, that terrifying summer comes crashing back. Is she paranoid, seeing parallels from her past that aren't actually there? Or, for the second time in her life, is Chloe about to unmask a killer? How good does that sound? Also, so needed because I've been reading a lot of romance recently, which I'm loving, but I really fancied something a bit grittier and darker, so I'm actually planning to start this one on my lunch break today. So this is an incredible pick, definitely the one that I think I would have gravitated to if I was getting a Book of the Month subscription this month. The other one that would have been so hard to choose between is a festive romance, and that is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I love this cover with all of my heart. It is just so beautiful. This one is all about a like classic Christmas life swap situation. So when chef Charlie Goodwin gets hit on the head in LA, on the LA set of her reality baking show, she loses her critical ability to taste and smell. Meanwhile, Charlie's identical twin, Cass, is frantically trying to hold her own life back together in their quaint mountain hometown while running the family's bakery and dealing with the breakup that just won't end. With only days until Christmas, a desperate Charlie and Cass do something they haven't done since they were kids: switch places. But when rugged firefighter Jake Greenman and gorgeous physician assistant Miguel Rodriguez are thrown into the mix, will the twins' identity swap be a recipe for disaster or for getting their lives back on track? Like, that just sounds so fun. I also love how foodie it sounds. I love Christmas, of course. We all know that. This is a Vlogmas after all. But Christmas paired with food, paired with twin life swap, what could be better? Honestly, like, it would have been incredibly difficult to choose between these two titles because they both sound incredible. It's also worth mentioning that this month there is a special offer for new members only, and that is for this book, John Green, The Anthropocene Reviewed. Really was struggling with the pronunciation there. So this book is only available to new members. The rest of the picks are available to anyone, new or old, but John Green's one is available to just new members only. And again, what a beautiful cover. So with that said, I think it's clear that Book of the Month have some absolutely incredible selections, something out there to suit everyone in my opinion. And like I mentioned before, if you are a new member, you can use the code JOLLY and follow the description box link down below, and you will get your first book from Book of the Month for only $5. So enjoy. I really hope you find a book that you love, because I know I'm going to have a great time digging into some of these picks. Now onwards to what we love to start every single vlog with, and that is of course a tea advent calendar. Bird and Blend, door number 6, which is down here. What are we gonna have today? You can read it before me. Special treats. Poppin' Xmas butter toffee. Oh yeah, boy, that sounds delicious. So this is a rooibos one with toasted rice. I remember having a toasted rice tea in last year's calendar, and that was really nice. Fenugreek, puffed quinoa, sunflower petals, and natural flavouring. And this one can be done with or without milk, so I will do this with a little bit of oat milk. And I can't wait, this is going to be delicious. So I'm going to go make that, and of course I'll be back with a taste test. Me and Oscar both agree this tea smells incredible. Yes, it does, doesn't it, Ozzy? This smells like a caramel snacker jack, like a rice cake. And I love the smell of it. So as I mentioned, I've made this with a little bit of oat milk. It smells amazing, so I'm going to dive in and have a taste test. I've got very high hopes. Wow. I feel like rooibos tea just is very, very warming in and of itself, and then it's got like a really nice toffee-ish flavour. There's almost like a nutty toastiness coming from the puffed rice and the quinoa, and it is very hot but very delicious. I'm super happy with this one. This one might be a contender for favourite tea so far. So big win. Gonna start the day of work right now, and then I will catch up with you at lunchtime when hopefully I'll have some time to do some reading. So I'm just on my lunch break from work now. I've spent about 10 minutes of lunch just doing a little bit of reading of A Flicker in the Dark because I really wanted to start this one. I only managed to read about 4 chapters and like 20 pages, so only at the very beginning, but it is definitely an intriguing start to the novel so far. So we have our main character Chloe, who is a doctor in the present day, and then obviously, as we know from the blurb, she was around a town where lots of young girls went missing in her childhood, and then she's kind of having this like It's a dual timeline situation, so we're getting to see like hints of how that's affecting her present, and I'm very excited to see like how it all pans out, because I think it's going to be very like multi-layered, and at least for me, because I'm certainly not a detective, very like difficult to keep up with, but in a good way, if that makes sense. I'm looking forward to reading more of this later on after I finish work. But on my lunch I also thought I would do some more advent calendar opening, because I fancy some toast and jam and a cup of tea for my lunch. So I'm going to open my next tea advent calendar, open my jam advent calendar, make some toast, make some tea, do a quick taste test, and then back to work, because a 30-minute lunch break goes by very quickly. Well, we might know it's Christmas time, but according to my toast and jam and tea, it's very summery right now, because we have a peachy keen peach flavoured tea, which smells very, very like summery and vibrant. And then we have an apricot and lavender flavoured jam. So again, very like summer vibes. So we've clearly got a theme going on. And as always, let's taste the tea first. I do love peach as a flavour, so I'm very excited for this. Unfortunately, this is just a classic case of fruit tea tastes 10 times stronger. Wrong. Got that completely wrong. This is just a classic case of Kira can't talk properly, but also a classic case of fruit tea that smells 10 times stronger than it tastes, because this is just a very weak flavour that does not match the vibrancy of the smell in the slightest. So there we go, disappointing tea, but there's always time for the toast and jam to save us. So time to taste the apricot and lavender jam. Very, very fun concept of a flavour, I have to say. Got this on my German style rye bread with a little bit of vegan butter underneath, so let's give it a taste. That is like super tangy and really delicious. Would definitely recommend that one. Thank you, bon maman. So lunch break is almost over already, as long as it takes to make a couple of slices of toast, and then lunch is done. So I'm going to head back to work and catch up with you this evening with some more reading, I think. now Tuesday, and as per usual I'm just quickly chatting to you before starting work for the day, but I do have a reading update because I spent a lot of time yesterday evening reading A Flicker in the Dark, and I managed to make it to chapter 13, which is page 105, so probably about a third of the way into this book, and it certainly has me very, very intrigued, which is definitely what you want from a thriller, certainly at like this point in the novel, where you're just sort of being introduced to the mystery and there are lots of different layers being thrown into the mix and you don't quite know where it's going to go and what mystery you're actually trying to solve. So at this point we've had a little bit of Chloe, our main character, in the present, but we've also had a lot of history about how her dad was originally accused of and convicted for being like a serial killer and kidnapping and murdering loads of young girls when she was a child. So we kind of have like that backstory. We have the knowledge that Chloe is now engaged to a man that her brother doesn't really trust, and then that also she is working as a psychologist, so obviously potentially the events of her childhood have given her a specific interest in mental health and how that can affect behaviour. So lots of different layers. I'm really enjoying it. There are little hints of, I guess, certain characters' intentions being a little bit off, and like there was one phrase in particular where a guy said to her, "I had a little sister once," and just like that little terminology, "had," without giving any extra context, just sort of immediately makes you start thinking about what that character is and what their intentions are. Lots of different things to think about because there are so many different elements, especially with it being across two different timelines. And the one thing that's kind of like sticking out to me about this one in terms of like comparative novels, for anyone who like is interested in what kind of thrillers I would say it's similar to, it's giving me a very similar vibe so far to Sadie by Courtney Summers, and I think partially that comes down to the fact that it is written in a way where we're not just getting one timeline and then another, they're kind of intermingling, so you're learning about the present and the past simultaneously, and that really worked to build a full picture and develop a lot of mystery throughout Sadie, and I'm getting that same vibe here. And then I guess also just in the context of the novel and what it's about and the age of the girls that are going missing, there's a definite similarity there as well. So if you liked that book, you probably would enjoy this one as well. Definitely going to try and do some more reading on my lunch break, but as we established, 30 minutes goes very, very quickly, so I'll probably get to the majority of my reading today this evening after finishing work. But it's a very cold morning today, like very frosty, very chilly, so I'm about to make myself some porridge for breakfast, and of course, what could you have porridge with but a lovely cup of tea? So let's find out what cup of tea I'm going to be drinking this morning for day number 7, and I'm really hoping for something like super cozy. Hazelnut Rocher, oh that sounds lovely. Ooh, wow. No, this sounds very yummy. Hazelnut and chocolate black tea with a splash of gold. That sounds delightful. Gonna go make this and I'll be back with a taste test. Breakfast time. I'm still gonna wait for the tea to cool down for a second, so I thought I'd talk you through my porridge because It's my favourite thing to eat at the moment. I just think porridge is unbeatable and I think I've got it down. So basically I put in some rolled oats with some oat milk and a little bit of hot water into a pan, cook it on the hob until it's nice and thick, then take it off the heat and add in a little bit of vegan vanilla protein powder. Then stir that up, it goes nice creamy, and like then the oats actually have like a flavour, because I know oats on their own can be a little bit boring. Then I pop that in the bowl, top it with some crunchy peanut butter, frozen blueberries, frozen raspberries, lots of cinnamon, maple syrup. Boom, it's delicious, and quite frankly the best breakfast I have ever had. It's just delightful. So that's my porridge. Onto the tea, we have our hazelnut rocher tea with some oat milk in the mug as well. So, oh, that's really nice. Like, it's got like a very soft, subtle chocolate caramel scent. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, let's try it, because it smells delicious, but hopefully it tastes delicious as well. Wow. So like the chocolate peppermint tea that I had on like day 2 or 3, that was mostly very minty. The chocolate flavour didn't come through until the tea had steeped for like quite a while, whereas this one you are just getting like a really caramelly chocolatey flavour right from the start. And it just smells amazing. Very big fan of this one. So I'm gonna go and eat my breakfast, start the work day, and as promised I'll catch up with you at lunchtime when, shockingly, it'll be time for another taste test. Lunchtime, and that means, as promised, I am back with another taste test. So without further ado, let's dive in. From the English Tea Shop Tea Advent Calendar, we have one that was called Irish Holiday. So the smell that I'm getting from it is like a very like sweet, creamy, almost chocolatey smell, and I'm thinking it's meant to kind of like mimic an Irish cream liqueur in flavour. And then I've made this one with a bit of oat milk. It smells really, really tasty, so we'll give it a try. So I can tell immediately that is made with like a rooibos tea, so it's got like a very subtle aniseedy sweetness coming through the rest of the tea. But then it's like a little bit nutty, chocolatey, very tasty, and actually quite interestingly pretty similar to the hazelnut rocher one that I had earlier this morning. So all round a great tea, because I've really enjoyed both of them today. So that is tea. Next on the agenda we have jam, and I'm very excited for this one because the flavour we have is peach and jasmine flower, which first of all is such a unique jam flavour combination, and second of all I'm excited because I love peaches. So without further ado, cheers to that. Peaches are just a gift to us on earth, I really feel. Peaches are so tasty, and it makes a really like, I keep wanting to say citrusy, not citrusy because peaches are not a citrus fruit, but something that has that same level of vibrancy that you would get from a citrus fruit is what I'm getting from these peach jams. They're very like summery and like super fruity, super sweet, really nice. Big fan of peach jams, and it's so fun to try them because I literally choking to death. There she goes again. I literally don't think I've seen a peach jam anywhere ever before, so it's really fun to try them, and I'm definitely going to be trying to source them more going forwards. So that's my lunch. A couple of days ago on another Vlogmas video, someone asked me to talk about like vegan festive foods. So I don't have a huge selection as of yet, and I will 100% be bringing you on my like Christmas food shop when I do it, because I just love Christmas food shopping so much. But I talked a couple of days ago about how I'm loving the Greggs vegan mince pies because they're delicious. Another thing that I've been getting every week in the food shop is these. They are cinnamon crunch pretzels from Tesco, and they are like basically crunchy pretzels coated in like a cinnamon sugar, but it's not like overpoweringly sweet, so they're like really nice just to have like a handful. Really great little like festive snack, and I've been getting these every week. They're also marked as suitable for vegan on the back, which is always handy so you don't have to like go through loads of ingredients, and I just thought I'd mention them because I'm really enjoying them. It is currently the most miserably cold, like freezing cold Tuesday afternoon, so I'm going to go enjoy my tea, enjoy my toast, make a hot water bottle, get back into the work afternoon, and then catch up with you with some cozy evening reading later on today. So I just finished work for the day, and I decided to get straight on with some more reading of A Flicker in the Dark. Just read about 60 pages now, and I'm really finding that this is the sort of book that you can just fly through because there is so much going on, so much to like sink your teeth into, that it is just like almost impossible to put down. And if it wasn't for me working the last couple of days, I think I would have like devoured this in one sitting because it's so interesting. And like I said before, I love the like layering of the two timelines because that just keeps me so invested, and I always find makes a book feel like it's going so much faster. But like I said, I just read about 60 pages, which has taken me up to about page 160, and chapter 21 is where I'm at right now. And that is about halfway through this book, and I'm very happy to say that at this point in the novel, I think I know who the killer is, which I'm very excited about because I am terrible at detective novels usually, and most of the time I don't even bother trying to figure out who the criminal is because I'm just like not that good at noticing the clues and the signs, and I find that if I spend too much time thinking about that, then I don't really enjoy the novel. So most of the time with thrillers, I just like I'm there for the journey, allow myself to sort of be taken along for the ride and then just see who's done it at the very end when the reveal happens. And I don't spend that much time like figuring it out as I go. I know some people are really good at it and really enjoy like looking for all of those little Easter eggs and red herrings and clues and figuring it all out, and some people are very talented and should definitely be real life detectives. Don't think I'm one of those people, but still I enjoy thrillers all the same. But this time around there's something about this book that has just prickled my levels of intrigue like nothing else, and so for that reason I feel like I'm really invested in like noticing all the tiny details and sort of spotting what's going on, and I think I've done it. So call me Miss Marple, call me Poirot, call me whatever you want, because I am a detective. Now, of course, this is a fairly new release, so I'm not going to be giving away any spoilers on my thoughts on who might have done it, whether I'm right or not, because I don't want to give anything away and ruin it for anyone else who might want to come to this book, because I definitely would recommend trying to get a hold of it, because it is really intriguing so far and I'm loving every single page. But I have figured it out. I'm pretty sure I've figured it out. Obviously I'll find out at the end, and seeing as I'm not giving away who I think it is, I can tell you whether I'm right or not, and then if you want to read the book for yourself, you can see if you figure it out, and we're not giving away any spoilers. So that's the deal we've got going on here. I'm finding it very intriguing, very interesting, loving the different layers, and of course it's an interesting setup because we have the two timelines, and in one of those timelines we obviously already know who the killer is. They've been convicted, they're in prison, all of that stuff has happened, so we're hearing about that all retrospectively, and instead of adding mystery to the novel, it's instead just adding a layer of like thriller, horror, gore situation to the novel, and it's just maybe sort of adding to the spookiness of the situation, and it's just a chilling and uncomfortable topic to read about. So that's kind of the purpose that that serves. But then in the present day timeline, we obviously have a new killer who we now think is like a copycat of the original murderer, and that is where the mystery is taking place, and that is where I think I have solved my first crime. So very much enjoying this one. It's so good, and I'm gonna really try and finish it tonight. I don't know how feasible that is because it is already like 6:30 in the evening, but gonna go make some dinner and then get straight back onto it. So I'll catch up with you later on, hopefully with some additional thoughts and maybe an answer to whether I'm correct or not. Somebody got a little bit too big for their boots, and that somebody is me, because I just finished up reading A Flicker in the Dark, so yay for that. But I did not crack the case, guys. I am not a detective. I take back everything that I said about myself when I was hyping up my detective skills, because I literally just fell for like probably the easiest trick in the book. Like I just fell for that first little thing where the author makes you think that you've figured out the loophole, but actually there's so many more layers of mystery to follow, and so many more loopholes, and so many more like tricks and red herrings and all of that kind of stuff, and I just fell for the first one, and I am an idiot. So not a detective, but a big fan of this novel nonetheless. In the last, like, I'd say 100 pages of the novel, things ramp up a lot, and that's saying something because the entirety of the book is fairly fast-paced and with a lot of action. So it's not as though it was a slow burn up until the last 100 pages and then it picks up. It was quite action-packed all the way through, and then the last section was like boom, boom, boom. You don't even know what to expect from one page to the next because there are that many like twists and turns, and I honestly felt a little bit like sick and just like, I felt like the anticipation was literally running through my veins to the point where I was like wired, and this book was absolutely unputdownable. So good. The ending was like, for me at least, being, you know, as we've established, not a detective, it was a very surprising ending. It really kept me on my toes at the end and I did not know what to expect. It like surprised me from multiple different angles, and I'm like flabbergasted by how good this was. So would highly recommend it, because I've had thrillers in the past where they have been that kind of like slow burn, meandering building of a mystery, and then they kind of like surprise you with a twist. But I find those ones a lot harder to find myself getting invested in because I just don't love super slow burns when it comes to thrillers, whereas this one, like I say, has those multiple timelines, so you're constantly like learning new information, getting extra context. You've got lots of different mysteries going on all at once, lots of different characters to sort of sink your teeth into, and it is just super fast paced, very surprising ending, and yeah, incredibly well written. So I'm so glad that I got the chance to read this book, and a big thank you to Book of the Month for sending it to me, because quite frankly I hadn't heard of this book or this author. It's her first novel, it's a debut, and I hadn't heard of it, so I'm really glad to have had the opportunity to read it. And then in the back of the novel it says that although this is her first novel, she's currently writing her second, so I'm waiting with the bated breath to get hold of that whenever it comes out, because I'm sure it is going to be incredible. So with that said, and how much I've enjoyed this Book of the Month pick, just wanted to give you one final reminder that this video has been very kindly sponsored by Book of the Month, and if you're interested in reading this novel or any of the other December picks, then you can follow the link in my description box down below and also use the code JOLLY to get your first ever Book of the Month pick for only $5. So treat yourself, get a good book, because I can confirm this one was incredible. And with that said, it is Tuesday evening. I've spent the entirety of my evening devouring this novel, and it's now time to go and get an early night before getting back into the workday tomorrow. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow in Vlogmas number 5, and thank you so much for watching.